Good morning, everybody. My name is Chadi Alraies, and with me is Dr. Meraj. He is the Associate Program Director for Cardiovascular Fellowship at Northwell Health, and also he's the Director of a cath lab at the same institution. Welcome, Dr. Meraj.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. So you just finished the CHIP talks, and you talked about the hemodynamic support. It's very intense, very stressful situations, and you are really a young and almost freshly graduated from a fellowship. What's your advice for fellows who's interested in the same track and doing their intervention year at this point?
So I think it's very important that any interventional fellow right now in fellowship really focus on basic skill sets. Because I think if you try to put an impella in, do rotational atherectomy, do orbital atherectomy, and do very high-risk procedures, you're missing the big picture. The big picture is probably more important, that you get your basic wire, skill, guide, catheter, knowledge of equipment experience down during interventional fellowship, and then everything else follows. I think it's very important that if you don't have that strong foundation, you really can't do structural heart procedures, you can't do interventional high-risk procedures, you can't do any of those things, because it's so important, as I tell fellows, to learn how to do a diagnostic angiogram, because if you can't do a good diagnostic angiogram, you cannot be a good interventional cardiologist. And then if you want to be a great interventional cardiologist, you have to think about all the different potential complications and possibilities, but that requires you to have a very firm, sound foundation of the basics. And I think it's important to get multiple skill sets. Coronary angiography skill sets, peripheral vascular skill sets are very important, even if you don't do peripheral vascular interventions. As you saw in the case that I presented, people have peripheral vascular disease, and in order to do some of these higher risk procedures, you need to be able to manage those peripheral vascular complications. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, structural heart and high risk procedures, very important, obviously.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Now we are, at this point, everybody in interventional cardiology looking for a job or signed a job.
Sure.
And there is a high demand on not just doing PCI, so there is either high risk or also doing TAVR. So what do you think for the interventional fellow? He's becoming also looking for a coordinator to hire, a nurse a practitioner to be in the team. It's a lot of skill and a lot of things to do before starting the first job, which is really stressful. What's your advice at this point?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's especially if you're as a new attending going into a center that does not have those capabilities right now. So if you go into a new hospital or a new heart center and they haven't done TAVR, or if you go into a new hospital and they haven't done high risk interventions, they haven't done percutaneous left ventricular or right ventricular assist devices, it's very difficult to start these programs because it requires more than just you. You can't do it alone. You need a nurse, a coordinator, you need staff, you need training, you need the collaboration of a team. And I think that's why as a fellow, it's even probably as important to learn the skill sets, but it's also as important to learn the backgrounds of how things happen. So if you're in a TAVR research or in a ventricular assist device research program, learn how those research programs and protocols function, because it's going to help you develop a program at your new place. It'll give you that ability and that comfort factor to say, okay, what should my nurse be doing? What should my coordinator be doing? Who's going to see the patient? Who's going to follow up on the patient? Who's going to do all this? Because if you're in the cath lab, you can't also be following up on the patient at the same time. It's very difficult to do both. So I think that it's more than just technical skill set. It's also a planning, and you're almost learning how to become an administrator without being an administrator. But these are the modern day interventional cardiologist is more than just an interventional cardiologist.
Yeah, the learning curve getting steeper and steeper even after graduation. Last question, SCAI 2016, what is the 2 or 3 things fellows should attend during this meeting?
So I think you definitely attend the data sessions for any late-breaking clinical trials or late-breaking data that comes out, because I think our field is so predicated on evidence that if you don't know the evidence of what we're doing, then you're behind the 8 ball. So you have to learn the evidence. But I think the skill sets that I think for fellows, especially there's a fellow in training track here, which is fantastic, and I think you should really follow that fellow in training track because it goes through everything from the basics to all the different areas. I think every fellow should go to a vascular talk and a vascular, access talk and a vascular complication talk, because that's of vital importance. I think if you are interested in structural or peripheral vascular or high-risk PCI, find the track that you enjoy and follow that track out. You can't be good at everything, so you have to sort of pick 1 or 2 things that you want to be good at, because if you try to pick everything, you'll fail. So it's not really smart to do everything. It's better to pick your poison and go after it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At the end, I would like to thank Dr. Meraj for his time at the SCAI 2016. And please follow us on CRT meeting at the Twitter account. And also, please follow the hashtag SCAI 2016. Thank you.
Thank you.